From tech titans to Wall Street power brokers and foreign dignitaries, a who's who of powerful men make appearances in the huge trove of documents released by the Justice Department in connection with its investigations of Jeffrey Epstein. All have denied having anything to do with his sexual abuse of girls and young women, yet some of them maintained friendships with Epstein or developed them anew, even after news stories made him widely known as an alleged abuser of young girls. None have been charged with a crime connected to the investigation. Epstein killed himself in a Manhattan jail cell in 2019. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, the man formerly known as Britain's Prince Andrew, has long been dogged by questions about his relationship with Epstein, or including allegations from the late Virginia Roberts Giuffre that she was trafficked by Epstein and instructed to have sex with Mountbatten Windsor when she was 17. The former prince has repeatedly denied that it happened, but his brother, King Charles III, still stripped him of his royal titles late last year, including the right to be called a prince and the Duke of York. Mountbatten Windsor's name appears at least several hundred times in Friday's document release, including in Epstein's private emails. Elon Musk, the billionaire Tesla founder, turns up at least a few times in Friday's document release, notably in email exchanges in 2012 and 2013, in which he discussed visiting Epstein's infamous Caribbean island compound. But it's not immediately clear if the island visits took place. Spokespersons for Musk's companies, Tesla and X, didn't respond to emails seeking comment Friday or Saturday. Musk has maintained that he repeatedly turned down the disgraced financier's overtures. Epstein tried to get me to go to his island and I refused, he posted on X in 2025. Sarah Ferguson. In March of 2011, Sarah Ferguson, then the Duchess of York, made a public apology for letting Jeffrey Epstein pay off some of her debts. Both she and her ex-husband, the former Prince Andrew, had come under tremendous public scrutiny for continuing a friendly relationship with Epstein after he pleaded guilty to soliciting prostitution from an underage girl. She told London's Evening Standard newspaper she would have nothing ever to do with Jeffrey Epstein ever again. But just 2 months later, she emailed Epstein to say she was going on Oprah Winfrey's TV show and wanted his advice on how she should answer questions about their relationship. Sergey Brin, the billionaire Google co-founder, made plans to meet with Epstein and Maxwell at his townhouse in New York years before he was publicly accused of sexually abusing underage girls, emails show. In one exchange in 2003, Maxwell invited him to join her at a screening of the Renee Zellweger film Down with Love in New York. She followed up a few weeks later to invite him to a happily casual and relaxed dinner at Epstein's house. Brin offered to bring along Google's then CEO Eric Schmidt. Richard Branson, the billionaire founder of the Virgin Group, a global conglomerate, exchanged numerous emails with Epstein. In a 2013 exchange, Branson invited Epstein to his own private Caribbean island, which regularly hosts large conferences, charity events, and business meetings. "Anytime you're in the area, would love to see you," he wrote, "as long as you bring your harem." In another message that year, he suggested Epstein rehabilitate his image by convincing Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates to tell the public how Epstein had been a brilliant advisor to him, and had more than learnt your lesson and have done nothing that's against the law since. Donald Trump. It's long been known that Epstein was friends with Trump before the two had a falling out. The new trove of documents contain thousands of references to Trump, much of which sheds little additional light on the men's relationship. They included emails in which Epstein and others shared news articles about Trump, commented on his policies or his politics, or gossiped about him and his family. The Justice Department also disclosed a spreadsheet created last August that summarized calls made to law enforcement tip lines from people claiming to have some knowledge of wrongdoing by Trump. Bill Clinton. Like Trump, Clinton spent time with Epstein more than 2 decades ago, including flying occasionally on his private jet and seeing him at the White House. Clinton also denied any knowledge of Epstein's wrongdoing. Clinton's representatives say the former president broke off relations with Epstein after the first round of criminal charges in 2006. Stephen Tisch, the New York Giants co-owner, is mentioned more than 400 times in the files released Friday. Correspondence between the two shows Epstein offered to connect Tisch to numerous women over the years. In one 2013 email exchange with the subject line "Ukrainian girl," Epstein encouraged Tisch to contact a particular woman whose physical beauty he praised in crude terms. Tisch, a scion of a powerful New York family that founded the Lowe's Corporation, has acknowledged knowing Epstein but denied ever going to his infamous Caribbean island. Casey Wasserman. The president of the committee for the 2028 Summer Olympics in Los Angeles exchanged flirty emails with Epstein confidant Ghislaine Maxwell, Friday's document release shows. In a 2003 exchange, Wasserman wrote to Maxwell, "I think of you all the time. So, what do I have to do to see you in a tight leather outfit?" In another, Art Maxwell asks whether it will be foggy enough during an upcoming visit, so that you can float naked down the beach and no one can see you unless they are close up. Ehud Barak. The former Israeli prime minister and his wife turn up frequently in the documents released Friday, showing they stayed in regular contact with Epstein for years, including well after his 2008 guilty plea for sex crimes in Florida. Among the correspondence are plans for a 2017 stay at Epstein's New York residence. Other missives discuss mundane logistics for other visits, meetings, and phone calls with Epstein. Barak has acknowledged regularly visiting Epstein on his trips to New York and flying on his private plane, but maintains he never observed any inappropriate behavior or parties. Nob Barak served as Israel's prime minister from 1999 to 2001 and later served as its defense minister. Larry Summers. Clinton's former Secretary of the Treasury and the one-time president of Harvard University, is another of Epstein's well-known longtime acquaintances. The new documents are full of references to meetings and dinners between the two men. A previously released trove of documents show Summers emailing Epstein in 2019, after the financier had been charged with sexual abuse of minors, to discuss his interactions with a woman, writing he'd told her, "Awfully coy you are." Epstein replied, "You reacted well." Summers has called his interactions with Epstein a major error of judgment. Howard Lutnick. President Donald Trump's Commerce Secretary visited Epstein's private Caribbean island with his family on at least one occasion. More records released Friday show. That appears to contradict prior statements he's made, claiming he cut ties with the disgraced financier, who he's called gross, decades ago. But emails show Lutnick and his wife accepted an invitation to Little St. James in the U.S. Virgin Islands in December 2012 and planned to arrive by yacht with their children. The former chairman of Newmark, a major commercial real estate firm, also had drinks on another occasion in 2011 with Epstein and corresponded with him about the construction of a building across the street from both of their homes. Steve Bannon, the one-time advisor to Trump, exchanged hundreds of friendly texts with Epstein, some sent months before the financier's 2019 arrest and jailhouse suicide. The two discussed politics, travel, and a documentary Bannon was said to be planning that would help salvage Epstein's reputation. One 2018 exchange, for example, focused on Trump's threats at the time to oust Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell. In a 2019 message, Bannon asked Epstein if he could supply his plane to pick him up in Rome. Epstein and Bannon also exchanged gossipy messages about Trump and his politics. Bannon hasn't responded to emails seeking comment,